Welcome to Intentional Divorce Insights. I'm Leah Hadley, certified divorce financial analyst, accredited financial counselor, and the founder of Intentional Divorce Solutions. I'll be your guide through the complexities of divorce, finance, and emotional wellness. Join me as we uncover practical tips and empowering insights to help you navigate your divorce with clarity and intention. Welcome back to Intentional Divorce Insights. I am so happy that you are here with us today. If you are listening, you are in the right spot because we have a fabulous guest here who is just going to absolutely inspire you today. Maria is a mom, a visionary entrepreneur, and a best-selling author with over 3 decades of experience building and reinventing businesses. But this is where I think it just becomes fascinating. Maria started as a hairstylist, and I've known a lot of hairstylists over the years who really struggle to build a book of business, to really build out a career. Well, not Maria. Maria went from hairstylist to becoming CEO of multiple thriving brick and mortar and online businesses, mastering the boutique business model. She helps service-based business owners fix what's broken, reinvent for growth, and plan powerful exits while living between the US and Italy, embodying true freedom, putting her family and her faith first, and bringing heart to everything that she does. Welcome, Maria. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, what an introduction. Like that, it's like you hear your stuff and you're like, I don't know, is that me? Holy mackerel. Well, thank you for having me, Leah. I am honored to be here. Totally honored to be here.
So some of you may be wondering, why am I talking to Maria about business on the Divorce Podcast? And I'm going to tell you why. I had the pleasure of meeting Maria at an event a few months ago, I guess now, and started to hear a little bit of her story about how she completely reinvented herself after her divorce. And it was so inspiring and so motivating. I was like, Maria, you have to come on the podcast and share with our listeners because so many people are in a season of struggle. And I just knew that if you heard her story, that you would it'll lift you up the way that I was so inspired when I heard her story. So Maria, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so where do I begin? Let's begin at the beginning. So I started my first business at 19 years old. I came from dysfunction. Great people, good family, but anyone that's a Gen Xer like me, we've had dysfunction. Our families all did the best they could with what they had, okay? So I started my first business at 19. I was super successful because I'm a hard worker, I'm a hustler, and I was willing to do the shit that no one else was willing to do. I get married. Technically later in life, I was 31, and in my mother's eyes, that was like, you were old already. And I got married to actually please my family, which sounds totally absurd and insane when I say it now, because it's like it wasn't the 1920s, but I did that because it was culturally what was embedded in the beliefs in my mind and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I wound up marrying someone that I knew in my soul was not good for me, but I was just going through the motions. I had financial success. I already had a multiple 6-figure hair salon in the 80s, folks, which was like millions nowadays. I owned a tanning salon and I had a beauty brand at this point. So I was 31, going to get married, got married. I passed out at my wedding at the church, felt dizzy, passed out. That was the first sign. Then on my honeymoon, I wound up coming back from my honeymoon, left my new husband there because I felt sick. Let me fast forward. So now I'm married. It was wrong. 3 months into the marriage, I left. I went to Italy for a month because I just felt like I was being choked. He wasn't bad or evil or abusive, but there was something wrong. Like it wasn't a good fit. But again, I just kept ignoring it, pushing it back and moving along. I wound up getting convinced to come back after this whole 1 month I stayed away. And what happened is I got pregnant with my daughter, Isabella. And that was it. I never left after that. The whole process of the story is my ex-husband unfortunately had addiction problems, mental struggles. And I was a people pleaser. So I thought I could fix him. I thought I could heal him. I thought I could make him see the light. I could make him change. And the more I would do to make this happen, it didn't happen
Yeah.
because he wasn't going to be accountable and he wasn't ready to do that. So then, again, I don't want to bash the man. It's my father's children. I'm respectful towards them. So I want to share the story without being like mean publicly, but
Sure.
he had issues.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was running a huge enterprise. I was successful and I wound up having my first child. I hid everything from my family, my friends, and everyone because here was this everyone they looked up to, the successful person. I was always happy. I was always in a good mood on the outside. I basically had a mask on, I always say. But in my private life at home, I was hiding a husband who was depressed, a husband who didn't go to work, a husband who was burying me in debt, all these things. So after my daughter Isabella was born, I basically had a breakdown, which, they didn't label it. And my daughter's 25, back even 25 years ago, no one was talking about postpartum depression. No one was talking about all this stuff, but I crashed and burned. So when I crashed and burned, I started to realize that I had to do something to change because I wasn't sleeping. I was constantly in the ER with chest pains. I had severe anxiety. I didn't know what it meant, what it was. And now I had this little baby I had to take care of. And I'm like, this is not normal. And this is where the beginning of my healing journey started. So, that's just a little touch of where the dark night of the soul started and where I realized something had to change.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We can only imagine, because that was a lot of time of just knowing and hiding. And what got you to the point of actually taking action?
So again, I want to be respectful of my ex-husband only because here's another thing. I always felt that bashing the other party for what they're not willing to do wasn't going to help me. Like I worked all through that and doing my own inner work. So what really made me take action was after my second child was born, which then was another 7 years later, folks. Okay. So it was a total of like 13 years I was married. I just reached a tipping point. It was financial. Cars were repossessed. I had people coming after us, creditors. And no matter how hard I worked and how much I did, I could never fix the problem. And I begged him to go to therapy. I tried everything.
Yeah.
And, it was something really deep and dark that, he did repeatedly, infidelities, gambling, that one day I woke up, I'll never forget. I knew going into it when I was carrying my son that as soon as he was born and I was healed, that I was just going to file for divorce at any cost and just move ahead. And that's what I did. And I remember selling my jewelry, whatever jewelry I had, to pay the attorney. I said to the jeweler, which is still local, it's crazy, just write the check to this lawyer because I'm filing for divorce. So to make a long story short, though, I had attempted to file for divorce at least 6 times in those 13 years and always backed out because I didn't have support from the people closest to me. So I felt always wrong. I felt I was going against my family's beliefs and their faith and blah, 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 and what the people were going to say, which later on I realized after doing the inner work, who the hell are these people? It's like the invisible people,
Right.
Again, I'm going to say it's very cultural. It's very their own beliefs and their own fears. So what made me finally take the step was I looked at my kids and I thought, Maria, what the fuck are you doing? You are continuing the family dysfunction because my parents didn't have a good marriage, but they stayed together till my father died. It's just the way it goes. And I said, what am I teaching my kids? I'm miserable. I'm sick. I was not well. I mean, I just was I was a mess. And I was always angry and pissed off. Like I wasn't Maria Fontana anymore. Where did she go? Mm-hmm. So that was the tipping point where I thought I have to take care of me. And I'm teaching, I have to break this generational gap. Now remember, who helped me was my healers, my coaches, my therapists. I had a whole team of people. And it took me working on myself a few years before I got to that point to have that courage, because I knew it was going to come with a lot of repercussions, and it really did. But I'm glad I did it, because if I stayed any longer, the financial damage and the mental damage would have been so much worse.
Well, and it makes me think about my own parents. My parents divorced when I was 8 years old. My father was an alcoholic and he gambled. And I could tell my entire life that he always loved my mom, even after they got a divorce. And I think she just had to make the tough decision that it was like, either I'm going to make sure that my kids are taken care of, or I'm going to stay married. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where, when you're in a situation where somebody's pulling you down like that, you can either let them take you down with them, or you have to get out, right? Like if you have to choose yourself at some point.
Yeah. And this is what I've learned. And this is what really guided me into the work I do today. Because as I was going through this, I started writing my first book. I started my coaching consulting business. Like, it actually was part of my entrepreneurial evolution that this was part of the journey. And I started to realize that the work that made me rebuild my life, the work that helped me get out of a situation that was no longer serving me, that was not right for my journey. I believe it served me because I believe my kids were meant to be mine. And I believe that my ex-husband was the catalyst for me hitting rock bottom and changing the generational pattern and healing myself, because I would not be talking to you. I would have not been at that event. I would not have the business that I have if that didn't happen. Yeah. So it's all about the inner work. For me, it was all, what really changed this? Like, yes, I can have business strategies and I could have marketing strategies and I could do all those rinse and repeat. But all of that was not what got me to be who I am today. Happy, whole. I don't even say healed, because I think healed is a state of mind. Like, you can choose to be healed or you can choose to hang on to shit. That's just my methodology. The reinvention methodology is you can just change things with a flip of a switch. Like, I truly believe that. That's just the way I believe and how I teach. So it was all part of it, Leah, And again, I am so grateful, because I would not be who I am today. I wouldn't be my whole self today. And we met in person. So, the way I'm talking to you is the way I really am, because it's all true.
And I love that about you. I mean, I could tell from the moment I met you that you were authentic, which I genuinely appreciate. So, Maria, I work with a lot of people who, in situations where maybe finances were strong at one point, but then became really challenging, they really struggle with a lot of self-blame around any of the financial missteps that may have happened in the past. And for a lot of people, it's really hard to get past that. It's just like, they cannot get to a point of trusting themselves again to be able to make the decisions they need to make in order to have the kind of success they want to have. And Maria, you are a living example of how very possible that is. So how did you do it?
So so everyone who's listening, guys, I want you to take notes. I went from having everything to being on the balls of my ass. I had 2 little kids. All the cars we owned were repossessed. Now, I want you to hold on and rationalize this. I'm freaking smart. I'm not a dumbass. I'm not like a poor victim woman that someone abused. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't fit. I'm like, how did this happen to me? Because I was too busy trying to survive. So I didn't pay attention to like the little things. Like, there was a PO box that my ex-husband had. There was all kinds of loans, which I blame the banks and people who are not educated working in certain banks. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, that just allowed this man to take home equity lines of credit without even me knowing, when the mortgage is in my name too. They say, oh, this can't happen. Oh yeah, really? It does every day.
Right.
So I don't want to get off target. I lost my house, the house I killed myself to work for. One of my businesses wound up with a lien on it. And again, there's a lot of legal technicalities in this that, Leah, you probably understand them better. But I got so entangled, and then I was left with $700,000 of gambling debt that now belong to me because I was married to this person and somehow my social security. So that, just so you understand the magnitude of this. Now your credit's trashed. I have to dig out of this. They're coming to get my house. I have to figure out where am I going to live if my credit's shot? So, and this is not, again, a poor me story. This is what freaking happened.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I went deep into my faith. I'm like, every day I'm like, God help me, angels help me. Whoever's on duty, please show me what to do. Whoever's on duty, help me. And I just went back to the basics. So I got out, basically here, I have it right here, my trusty legal pads, and I just started writing down, what do I know for sure? So what do I know how to do for sure that I can generate money quickly? Well, I know how to do hair. I knew how to open a business with like a few bucks. I knew how to generate cash quickly in that way. I knew that I could help people because people are constantly picking my brain about stuff. So I started out with that. What do I know for sure? Then what resources do I have? And then just really having faith. Somehow, someone I did their hair that knew someone else rented me their condo. They didn't need a credit report. They knew I wasn't a lowlife. They knew my story. Somehow then I wound up getting some crazy loan to get my car. Somehow then I found a wonderful attorney who taught me all about bankruptcies and how to reestablish my credit. All these things came from having faith, sharing my story where I intuitively knew it was safe to share. Because again, not everyone is safe to share your stuff with, because some people actually kind of celebrate when things hit the fan. So you have to, use your intuition. And little by little, I just trusted myself. And this is what I help a lot of experts, leaders, entrepreneurs. Trust yourself again, because I lost myself. You feel like you're a loser. You feel like, how could this be me? I was embarrassed. I was overwhelmed. I felt like I just couldn't believe this was happening to me, because it made me feel like I was a dumbass, and I wasn't. Tuning all that out and just focusing on what resources do I have, and one step at a time. And that's what I did, Leah. I opened another boutique salon with like literally no money. Like I rented a room. I started doing I just did what I had to do. One thing led to the next thing, led to the next thing, led to the next thing. Then I just kept focusing on sharing my message. I wrote my books. Was it easy? No. Was it smooth? Not at all. Now, my ex-husband quit his job, went into a depression. I never saw a dollar of child support. I'm divorced now, 18 years. I have never seen a dime from this man. He's not well. And that was another part, was releasing the need that this person was going to change, that he was going to do the right thing. Because one of my healers said to me, well, if he didn't do the right thing when he was with you and he was willing to lose everything, what makes you think that's going to change?
That's right.
So I know it sounds all simple and fairy dustish, but it's really staying clear and having a support system, having either a mentor, a coach, a therapist. Like I said, I always have a business coach. Even when I couldn't afford that business coach, I used to listen to that business coach, which we know who that is, online for free. Like, it's not that long ago that this all happened.
Yeah.
And then I rebuilt myself. And then anything that anyone said you couldn't do, I just did it. Like, I wrote my first book on a Google Drive. I self-published it. It hit bestseller. You know why? I was just sharing my truth. Second one, same thing. Simplicity, trusting yourself, tapping into your soul, trusting source, God, the divine, whoever it is you believe in, whatever it is you believe in. Because ultimately, this is why I always tell everyone what works with me. It's like this. It's a clear line drive to your soul. Whatever it is you believe in. And doing it. And when shit hits the fan and things go wrong, I give myself grace. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, that didn't work out. It's a redirection. That's okay.
So Maria, oh my gosh.
I could like sit here and chew your ear off all day.
There's so much to unpack there, right? But right now, you are reinventing yourself again. And one of the things that I see with people is that what keeps them stuck is their inability or the shame and embarrassment that you were talking about, Maria, that you were holding on to, but to the point of not being able to have those conversations to make the connections that you need to be able to get to that, taking those steps, right? Step after step after step. And so I'm just curious to hear, for you, how did you get past that in such a way? I loved that you highlighted the fact that you chose safe spaces, right? First of all, how did you know it was a safe space? Because that's really important. People really struggle with that. But how did you get past that embarrassment to be able to even make those connections?
And it's what I teach in all my programs and inside the Reinvention experience. It's going within. It's really simple. Before this recording, you and I mentioned about how when someone enters a room, you already know. It's energy, and energy doesn't lie. It's the old stories that have been brainwashed into our heads that make us second guess. I can tell you right now, if you just go with your gut feeling, that's your truth. That's your truth. Are people going to break your heart sometimes? Yeah, because they're human. Are people going to change, evolve, and maybe go into their own dark point? Yes, but can you control that? No. So when you say to me, how do I know it was safe? Some people were safe for a short time. And then as I grew, healed, evolved, and wasn't in the hole anymore, they suddenly weren't as safe because they weren't looking in the mirror and helping themselves. No shade on them. It's their journey. You can love them from a distance. I teach people to, you can just have a relationship where, hey, I'm not coming over for dinner anymore with your alcoholic husband and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's meet for coffee at 10 a.m. I'm available. Would you like to meet for coffee? Changing how you actually connect with some people, because you might actually love some people, family, friends, but as you grow and evolve, they might no longer align anymore with you.
Right.
And I just really, Leah, I just trust my gut. If I wake up and I'm supposed to go somewhere or do something and I get a feeling, not out of fear, but like you can just feel it in your bones that something has to change or it's not right, I will cancel, change, delete. I don't even second guess. But this comes with doing the inner work, which means tapping into your soul, quiet time. This is all the inner work that I do, having you really allow those old stories to go away, because we all have old stories, and honoring your soul, which it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. And that is the key to knowing where it's safe to share. Just listen to your gut. Don't worry about impressing anyone. Don't worry about the outside noise, the Instagram, the bullshit, the fakeness, the filters, even though I love me a good filter because, it makes you look like But don't get caught up in the BS because everyone's got stuff. Yeah. So that's how I gauge it. Like, I know I met you in person. I immediately knew the minute I spotted your eyeballs that you were like an earth angel. You had light energy. That's what I call it. And we were aligned. Like, we didn't have to talk. We talked later, but like, we like, boop, boop. Like, you just know. So celebrate that. And anything that feels off, don't judge it. Just be like, you know what? That doesn't feel right. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to talk to this person about that, or they're not a good fit. Here's a quick story. I had someone hounding me on text, an old acquaintance, hounding me on text this week about getting together in November and December. So I was very kind. I'm like, hey, thank you so much for thinking of me, but I'm all booked. November's not going to work. And December's pretty busy too. Maybe we can meet for coffee in January. I mean, and I'm just being honest. Sure. Now I'm like, well, I'm going to be in Italy in January. I'm going to be back to the end of February. It sounds like I'm being an asshole, but I'm really not, because what's our most precious commodity? Time. This person is a lovely person, but they are a taker. There's no equal
Right.
reciprocity. So not that I want to be mean to this person, but I have to guard my time. So it's like, hey, I'm available for coffee at this time only. And then what'll happen is this person will fall away because they're really not aligned with who I am today.
Hmm.
So does that make sense?
Absolutely. And, I have to say, I think one of the things that really helped me and being able to tune into that and make those intuitive decisions and say no to things that didn't feel right and all of that was being in the presence of people like you, Maria, who are so confident in that intuition and knowing, and it kind of gives you that permission to be like, you know what? I can listen to myself. Mm-hmm. Like she can do it. I can do it. Right.
Yeah. And I applaud you for that because it is the truth. And, they always say, oh, you become the people you surround yourself with. But it's really true because, again, this has nothing to do with, I'm not selling a belief system to people. Right. What I'm saying is I invite you in to really just listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And we all are born with this gift. And again, I was told in the beginning of my career, anytime I wanted to shift more and talk about my truth, I had a business coach years ago who was like, oh, that'll discredit you. What are you, crazy? La, 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 la. And I thought, that doesn't feel good. So now that's not going to work for me.
Right.
And it really is. It's not woo. It's not religious. It's none of the aboves. It is simply saying, what is my soul telling me? Your inner GPS. If you don't want to call it a soul, say it's a GPS. We all have a GPS. What's that GPS telling me? It's telling me hard right today, not that left.
That's right.
This client, even when we have clients, it's like I immediately knew I mastered this in the hair world. Then I mastered it in the consulting world. But as you master yourself, you know what happens? And the more you listen, you don't even need to decipher that anymore because those unaligned folks don't even come into your vortex. It is so crazy cool. It really is. It's like an internal filter.
So, Maria, how are you working with people these days?
So I have been really deep diving into the Reinvention experience. That's my methodology, right? So I was helping a lot of entrepreneurs, leaders, experts, professionals, mostly women, but I work with men too. I have a lot of men that come to me. So it's everyone, step into their next season. Mm-hmm. And I found that their next season is really more about honoring themselves. Like, what are we doing in this next season to reinvent how we're showing up, how we're leading, how we're living, how we're loving? And a lot of people say to me, I love the fact that, I got remarried. I married the love of my life. I have a soulmate. I look 20 years younger than I did at 40 because I'm soul aligned, right? Like I'm in my spirit. And so helping others do that, established entrepreneurs, expert leaders, really stepping into their next season of what's aligned for you. Some people, it might be they're going to change their whole business model and change up what they've always done. Some other people, they're getting divorced. Some people are getting married. It's honing into what their spirit says, like releasing the barriers and like designing what your next season looks like. And that's just so important because I run into thousands of accomplished entrepreneurs. And you know what happens, Leah? It's not about the figures anymore, I say. It's not about the 8, the 9 figures, the 7 figures. It's like they've got that, but they're disconnected.
Right.
They're not feeling aligned. They're feeling pressure. They're not doing what their soul says. They're just doing what they've always done because it's safe, it's comfortable, it's what society wants them to do. So I really help you shake everything up and freaking turn it on its head and find your way. And it's powerful. It's powerful work. It's inner work. It's not so much I'm moving more in 2026. It's not the business tactical part because I found working with all these people, it never had to do with the business or tactical part that they hired me for. It was always trusting themselves, how to tap into their intuition, how to really let go of those old beliefs. And, I'll just share real quickly, when I was going through my journey, I went back to school online and I became a licensed, certified integrative healing practitioner. What the hell does that mean? I was so obsessed with healing, energy, light, angels, all this healing work that I was like, I want to learn more. So I became a transformational life coach, guided imagery, hypnosis. So I'm intuitive. I have a gift where I could just see so much for people that they can't even see for themselves. And that's like such a powerful gift. I'd be in a session, I'd be like, I just got to download. Do you want to hear it? And people are like, yes. So I'm really moving more towards honoring my soul calling, which is bringing this to established, accomplished entrepreneurs, leaders, and experts. Because that's where the real magic happens, guys.
And I got chills when you were saying it.
Because Leah, I didn't rebuild my life to where I am now, thank God, by just doing tactics.
Yeah.
I figured out how to make money. Like I rebuilt my life, but it was the inner stuff that really mattered.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Maria, I have no doubt that our listeners are so inspired by your story. And I know a lot of them are in a season of reinvention. And so will likely want to know where they can find more information about you and connect with you. Where can they learn more about you?
You're the best. Well, just go to mariafontana.com. Everything's right there. And I am all over social media because I love sharing. I love content. I love all of that. And I'm all over. Just look up Maria Fontana and you can find me at mariafontana.com. I actually would love your listeners. I have a special VIP audio thread that I created. So what I do is it's for my paying clients, but for anyone that just text me, email me, mariafontana.com, or reach out and I will give you access to that free VIP thread. That's where I share all my juicy, good stuff that nobody else gets.
Thank you, Maria. That is awesome. I really appreciate that. And I have no doubt that our listeners will as well. Any final words? Oh, I love you too. Any final words for our audience?
Guys, if you're listening to this, I want you to just take a deep breath, stop, tap into your heart and listen to what your soul is saying, even if it makes sense to nobody else. It is your journey. We're only here once, and you have to fucking listen. Sending you lots of love and light.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Maria. And for our audience, thank you for being with us as well. This has been so inspiring for me, and I hope that you have also felt Maria's incredible energy. And if you would like to share this episode with a friend who might benefit, seasons of reinvention are challenging for people. People can feel very lost and alone. And just sharing something like this with them to help them feel more connected and know they're not alone is really powerful. So if this resonated with you, please share it with a friend, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me on Intentional Divorce Insights. It's a privilege to share this time with you. I hope each episode offers valuable guidance to navigate your journey. If you find our content helpful, please leave a review to help others discover the benefits of intentional decision-making in divorce. Until next time, take care and continue to embrace your path with intention.